Hey guys, welcome back to Eric Reacts. I want to do a video that talks a little bit about money and politics because it's one of the biggest issues right now facing the United States. It pretty much influences every single issue we have in our society. Climate change, healthcare, LGBTQ rights, housing, everything. So with climate change, as an example, the fossil fuel industry is paying off government officials, mostly Republicans, to look the other way. They pay them enough for some of them to say things like climate change is a hoax invented by the Chinese. And they pay them enough to ignore all the scientific data that says our planet is on the verge of irreversible damage. And with another example, healthcare costs, the medical industry makes tons of money because they can jack up the prices for prescription drugs and treatment because, again, they contribute money to government officials. So how is this all possible? How can they influence people like this? So it's all possible because of a disastrous Supreme Court ruling called Citizens United versus the FEC. So we refer to that as Citizens United. Citizens United sounds pretty innocent, right? It's citizens all together getting together and they're united. But it's actually really, really horrible. So while individuals can only contribute a set amount to any political candidate, Citizens United allows corporations to dump as much money as they want into political action committees, or PACs. These committees must not be directly associated with the candidate they represent, but nobody pays attention to that rule. So politicians are getting all this money to support their own political aspirations, but they know that if they don't do what the huge corporate donors want, the money will stop coming in. So they sell out the American people to continue getting that money. And like I said about the climate change and the healthcare industry, they're basically ruining the planet and jacking up prices for healthcare for their own agenda. So, yeah, money in politics also gets in the way of a lot of social change as well. The Koch brothers, some of the richest people in the United States, spend a ton of money on Republican politicians to get them to fight against LGBTQ rights. So the political beliefs of the rich dictate how a lot of legislation comes down and affects us on the ground level, which is just ridiculous. And then we have Donald Trump pretending to be a man of the people. He says a lot of people are going to be very happy with the tax cuts that I'm going to implement. And people who don't look much into these things will be like, oh, Trump's tax cuts worked out so well. The country is richer than ever. And sure, the biggest companies are making more money than ever. But do you want to measure the success of a country by how well the richest do? Or do you want to measure success by how well ordinary citizens do? The cost of living keeps getting higher and higher, and the amount ordinary citizens make isn't changing to meet that cost. So I'm not saying corporations shouldn't make a lot of money, but let's be reasonable here. Let's say Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, he makes $275 million a day. Not a year, $275 million a day. And he treats his workers like complete crap. I don't know if you saw the news story about how Amazon workers were so afraid of taking bathroom breaks that someone just peed in a bottle. And then when you get injured on the job at Amazon, they tell you to call the shift manager instead of calling 911. And that's... A woman broke her foot once and finished out her shift before going to the hospital because if she didn't finish her shift, she would have been written up and she would have lost pay. And while the big businesses are bleeding us dry, they're not even paying their fair share in taxes. All these big corporations have lots of ways to evade taxes. So in 2016, I'll just name one of them. Google says that $19 billion of their profits came from Bermuda, even though just the smallest amount of people work there. And what's the tax rate on corporations in Bermuda? 0. So that's $19 billion that went untaxed. And what was the population of Bermuda in 2016? It was 65,000. So they're saying that if every citizen in Bermuda worked for Google, that means that Bermuda made $300,000 in profit from every citizen. Right. So they're just shifting their profits offshore and not paying the taxes that they should be paying. And of course, no discussion about money in politics is complete without talking about the AIG bailout. So with the housing crisis of 2008, AIG crashed hard, and the government decided, hey, we're going to save this company. Why? Because they've greased political hands. They've paid us off in the past. So they gave AIG $180 billion in taxpayer money to save it from collapsing. I'd love to say that that's the end of it, but as soon as they got that bailout, AIG paid over $1.2 billion in bonuses to their financial division. So the people who got the company into this mess were given bonuses. And in the United States, there are people that say Social Security, food stamps, and other types of welfare are handouts. They're handouts. But they don't have anything to say about governments giving handouts to corporations. It's all a very hypocritical situation. So what can we do as ordinary citizens to stop all this from happening? So you can call your legislators, ask them about their stance on Citizens United, tell them how much it means to you as a citizen to overturn it, and vote for people who say they will overturn it as well. Support candidates who will refuse to take money from corporations. Candidates who have sworn off corporate money have actually been able to run pretty good campaigns in recent history. And if possible, shop at smaller businesses. The big businesses don't need your money, and they're all just going to evade taxes and treat their workers like shit anyway. There's so much more to say about this issue, but I literally could not fit it into one video. Stick around though, I definitely want to do more of these videos about political topics. Let me know what you think in the comments below, subscribe here, and thanks for listening. Bye, friends.